So now we're on page 5. So on one hand, we had lo tamod, v'rapo yerape. We had v'hashevosolo. We have v'katzoses kapov. On the other hand, we have the psukim that you have to watch for yourself. And yishmartim la'od v'nafshem seichem. We have v'chei achicha imach. Your brother should live with you. We have v'chai bahem. You should live. So on one hand, you should sacrifice yourself for your friend, but on the other hand, you better watch yourself. Also says here, Shmor nafshecha ma'od in Dvarim. So we have Vayikra, Dvarim. We also have Lo tasim domim beveisecha. You should be very careful to not have blood in your house. And this is source for where the Shulchan Aruch Kuf Tet Zayin 116 says Tzarech lizarim militein mos, but the famous Rama on this Kisachanta chamira meisura. So all the Yisurim in the Torah take a back seat when it comes to dangers. It said again here in Mishnah Torah in number 4 here. It said, "Kain kol mishal sheish b'sakanas nefashos mitzvahs aseh la'asiro u'hishamer mimenu." As it says, "Hishamer l'cha u'shmor nafshecha ma'od." We saw that in Devarim. And then it's if you don't take it out and you come into a problem, you're also over lo tasim damim. And then the Mishnah Torah goes on, all these different cases, Hilchas Rotzeach, Shmiras Nefesh, all these different ideas of what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't drink from a uncovered water fountain. Certain fruits and vegetables you should stay away from if they're not cooked. And the Gemara in Shabbos says, the Olam al Yamad Adam Bimkom Sakana Lamarshos and Lenes, Shamos and Lenes. There's this concept also that if you do take risks, it takes away some of your other merits. And besides the halachic parameters of really not putting yourself in major danger, we have to understand when you are potentially allowed to take risks. This is the famous Gemara Pesachim about checking for chametz. Ein mechayvin os lachnis yodo lechorin v'livdok mipnei hasakana. And then, but then the famous question, Amar Rabbi Eliezer shluchei mitzvah einin lizukin. You're going to do a mitzvah. So this is the concept. When you do a mitzvah, maybe you can take certain risks. And then the answer was that maybe you lost something, so you're not really doing it totally lishma. You're putting your hand in there to find something else. You happen to be also looking for chametz. So we are now introduced to the concept of shluchei mitzvah einin lizukin. So that's one little caveat to this concept of not being able to take risks. We also have a Gemara in Shabbos that talks about taking blood, whether or not you're allowed to give blood. Certain days you shouldn't give blood because it was considered bad luck. So it says, Pursha didma chad b'shabata arba malei shabta, val sheni v'chamishi lo. You're not supposed to give blood on Mondays and Thursdays, because for whatever the reason, this Shabestin Shalmala Vishalmata Shavin Kechad. Okay. But he says, and even Saturday night, you know, it shouldn't be a good time to do it, but because people do it, and it's been okay, then you're allowed to do it. What's the Kavan Didashu Beirabim Shomer B'Sayim Hashem? So the Shomer B'Sayim Hashem watches out for this symbol. So we already talked about 2 exceptions to the concept of risk taking. One is this concept of shluchei mitzvah eina nizukin, and this other concept, then that's from Pesachim, and from Shabbos we learn shomer b'sayim Hashem. This other caveat to risk taking is the Gemara of Mitzia, where it says Ve'elav hu noseas nafsho, it's a pasuk in Dvarim, and to himself he carries his soul. So the Gemara says, Ma ala zeh bekeves v'nitla be'ilan masar esatzma lemisa lo aschara. So means, Rashi explains, Kol atzma hu moser nafsho alav lalos bekeves kavoa v'sikim ba'atzma. He risks his life in order to make a living. Limso v'zeitim v'ligdor tamar masar nafsho alav lemisa shema yipol min hakeves min ha'ilan. So you're allowed to take certain risks if it's in order to make a living. So to recap this page, we went over first the flip side of the dilemma, that you need to be very careful with your own life. So even though it says lo tamar al tamarecha, you have a responsibility to your friend, but you have to be very careful. And nishmar tamod, lo tasim damim, v'chai bahem, shmon avsham od, sakanta chamira meisura. At the same time, and also that if you put yourself in dangerous position, it takes away your zechuyos. At the same time, there is this concept of shluchei mitzvah and nizokin and shomer b'sayim Hashem. They are doing things that other people have done, but also there's and also there are certain exceptions that you're allowed to do risk taking in like when you're making a living. I mean, this could be applicable to the point of, let's say you're a policeman or a soldier. You're allowed to take risks that other people wouldn't do. Perhaps you could use this pasuk as supporting that. Ve'elav hu noseas nafsho is referring to that. Okay, but now we're gonna talk about the talmudic stories regarding risking life for self for others.